we'll really get into the nitty gritty, start talking money, shall we? Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to our monthly money reset, how I budget for a new month for May 2024. I am so happy that it's spring, winter is gone, the egg sweater is out, as well as my cute flowery mug. So I'm feeling very springy today. I'm so honestly pumped to reset my budget for the month of May, to share everything with you guys, because I'm just feeling so motivated to be like a good budgeter this month. And I don't know, we'll get into everything and we'll get into kind of why I feel that way and why I'm so excited, but I hope that excitement rubs off on you guys. Whether you are just watching this video or budgeting along with me, I hope you enjoy it. If this is the first video of mine that you are watching, welcome to the channel. My name is Zoe, I'm 27 and I live in Montreal. I'm self-employed and I have been filming these videos for like 4 years now, for a really long time. Basically just documenting my journey with budgeting, every single month resetting our budgets together. And from 4 years ago to now, my, growth has been pretty tremendous. And I'm not talking about dollars in the bank growth. I'm really talking about mental growth, because I used to get so stressed when it was time to film these videos. There were many months where I would sit down and look at my budgeting and just cry. I went from living paycheck to paycheck, never having a budget, always just looking backwards at my finances and being like, oh my gosh. And let me be specific and say that I was living paycheck to paycheck while making a pretty good salary. So it really all just came down to the fact that I didn't know how to handle my finances, and and honestly, I still am a very emotional spender, but I've come a long way. I love to do my monthly budgeting now. It is not something that makes me cry anymore. Like I said right at the beginning of this video, I'm actually pretty excited for it. So I want to dive in. I want to take you step by step through my monthly budgeting routine. I'm so happy that you're here. I would love for you to subscribe if you have not already. And whether or not you're new, please give this video a thumbs up. It really supports my channel. Okay, so let's get a couple of disclaimers out of the way. One, I'm not a professional. This is not me giving you advice. What I hope you take from this video is some inspiration to think about your finances, maybe create a budget, maybe try out cash envelopes, just maybe take whatever you're doing one step further. Or maybe you're already perfect and this is just pure entertainment for you, but I really just wanna show that budgeting can be fun. And even if we struggle with financial anxiety, even if it feels scary, budgeting is a world that is accessible to everyone. And I want to be like your budgeting BFF. I want to be your everything BFF, so that's why you need to subscribe to my channel. But in this video, I want to be your budgeting BFF. The other thing that I will say is I am very much in my long video era. I am not going to mince words, which is not even the proper use of that expression. But we're here to chat, we're here to hang out, and I hope that this is going to be just like a long, cozy video, hanging out, talking about money. So let's get into it. We're going to go step by step, like I said. And step one is to talk about the feels. So one thing that I have always been very aware of is my feelings towards money. I came from a place and like kind of family upbringing where money was a very sensitive subject. Money caused a lot of anxiety. I had a lot of anxiety I think unintentionally. Like, I love my parents very much, but especially from my mom, I think she put a lot of her money worries onto me. And so over the years, especially since working full time and paying off my debt, I've been working on shedding those anxieties. If you want to pretend like finances and personal finance has nothing to do with emotions, I'm sorry, but you are just so wrong. The two are so linked. The way we spend, the way we earn, the way we feel about money is so linked to our budget and our financial success. It's even linked, like if you want to go a step further, it's even linked to the ways that we invest our money, the stocks that we buy, the funds that we invest in. Like, emotions and our biases and all of that play a role in everything that touches finance. I really truly believe that. And I also learned that in university. Today, we are talking about personal finances, and of course, our emotions are so linked to our personal finances. If I'm feeling anxious, I actually have a tendency to spend more money because I kind of like to spend to self-soothe. I also know that I have a pattern of celebratory spending, so I will want to celebrate and I will treat myself. I also, like I just mentioned, have a long history of financial anxiety, worrying about money, never feeling like there is enough, and never feeling like I'm going to be secure. I think that has been a really strong pattern since my childhood. I just always remember there being worries and worries and worries and so much worries, whether or not they were actually valid. Growing up, there was so much worrying about money. I carried that with me all through university. I, had student loans, I had debt, and I carried that worry, and I always just felt like I wasn't going to be enough. I wasn't going to be able to take care of myself. And that anxiety had been kind of at bay for many months. I'd been feeling really, really good. And I think it's because I had been doing so well with my budgeting and also just with my earnings. I'd been working extremely hard. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, like my 3 different jobs, like just really, really, I hate this expression, but like grinding. And I was making great money. Like I was really making pretty great money. And so I was able to cover all of my needs, a lot of my wants, and I felt very secure, and my anxiety didn't go away, but it was definitely at bay. And it's funny because I kind of thought that I had conquered my anxiety, but this month I realized that I really haven't totally conquered it. I was taking care of myself in a different way by working extra hard, earning extra income to soothe that anxiety. So that is one way to go about doing it. But of course, life is about balance, and I was working so hard. There was also just a certain element, I think, of luck and timing, especially being on YouTube. There are seasons that are busier. There are seasons where you have more views and more brand deals, and there are seasons that are more calm. So you have less views, which means less AdSense money, and potentially less brand deals coming in. The income really fluctuates a lot. The same is true for my copywriting gig. It all depends on how much work they have for me that month, how much work I'm able to take on. My bar teaching gig is a little bit more consistent, but I only teach 3 times a week now. So it's not a huge source of my income. It's actually just more for fun that I do that. But in April, I started to feel very run down. I started to feel very tired, and I needed to take a break. I wanted to take a break, and I needed to take a break. And when you are self-employed, very, very often, most of the time, unless you've got crazy sources of passive income going on in the background, taking a break means taking an income hit. And I knew that going into taking a break. I was yep, you're gonna slow down. You need to, you've been working so hard, you've been saving, you've really been taking care of yourself, Zoe. It's time to take a break. And I took a break, and now the anxiety is creeping back in because I am seeing that I don't have as many paychecks, being ready to come in, or yeah, it's kind of awkward to talk about because I never want to sound ungrateful for what I do. I'm so blessed and privileged to be self-employed. And the thing, I went for a walk yesterday with Maggie, and I was just kicking myself because it's there was a time where I wished to be self-employed more than anything. And I used to tell myself that if I could just make my ends meet while being self-employed, I would be so happy. And now I can make my ends meet from being self-employed. And it's I'm just oh, it's not enough. I want more. And it's a really toxic habit of mine. It's not really something that I'm happy or proud to admit, but I'm admitting it. I'm talking about it because maybe some of you out there feel the same way. Just it's never enough. And the crazy thing about that mentality is it will never be enough. You could make $20,000 a month and you'll still feel like it's not enough unless you know how to be happy with what you have right now, assuming that, all of your needs are met and you can pay for the roof over your head and the food that needs to go in your belly and all of, the Maslow's level 1, needs. And then maybe even a little bit more, when you don't learn how to be happy with that, more and more and more, you're always just going to be chasing more. And so this is something that I so deeply need to work on. But anyways, I want to say really strongly the past week, and then the past 2 weeks, I've just been feeling so worried, and I just have those old feelings come back in. And when I analyze those thoughts, and I'm sure, I'm going to call you guys out, I'm sure some of you guys do this too. The thoughts are so irrational. I worry that I'm not gonna be able to pay my rent and like my apartment's gonna be taken away from me. And it's like, it's not gonna happen. Like when I don't live alone anymore, but I worried about that constantly when I lived alone, and it never happened. Like it never happened. Especially now that I no longer live alone, like it's really not gonna happen. So I have irrational worries about kind of present day to day. And then I also have very strong worries about the future, because when you listen to the news and it's like, oh, the economy and the house prices, I just worry about how am I gonna have a future? How am I gonna have a home one day? How am I gonna, support a family one day? I get so caught up also in worrying about a future that's not even here yet. And yeah, it's really silly to worry about those things, but that's kind of just like what's been going on in like my mind, heart, and honestly my body too. Like I feel it in my body, just like little aches and pains and like stiffness, and also heat. Like I went for a walk this morning, felt these anxieties start coming on, and I felt my body start getting hot, and I was like, Zoe, I was like, look at the grass, you're fine. Look around you, you're fine. So anyways, it feels kind of good to admit that. I hope you guys are feeling better, but if you are going through any anxiety, please just know that you are not alone. And I used to look at people online and think, oh, like, my dream was always to be a YouTuber. And I was like, if I could just be a YouTuber, I'd never be anxious again. And now I am a YouTuber, among other things, and I'm still anxious. It's easy to look at people, whether that's online or just walking down the street. You see someone driving a nice car and you're like, oh, they must have no worries, but we never know what's going on behind the scenes. And I think everyone has worries here and there. Okay, so are we gonna stay in this anxious mentality? No, we're not. We're gonna kill it with our May budget. We're gonna take care of ourselves. And what I've been trying to tell myself, and I know like these fluctuating income discussions, they probably only apply to those of you who maybe work a commissions job or are also self-employed, freelancers, people who have those fluctuating incomes. But what I need to remember is in times when my income is lower, it also probably means my workload is lower. So instead of filling my time with worry, I should fill my time with leisure. It's like, okay, if I have less work to do this month and I'm not getting paid as much, well, let me go take advantage of that and go be outside and go for a walk, like go do some free or very low cost activities, even just lying down on the couch. Like I restarted watching Drag Race, so nice. Because the busy times will inevitably come back. And I've had this cycle before. I've had a slow month, a slow couple of months, and spend the entire time worrying. Then it picks up and becomes busy again, and I'm kicking myself for not having actually enjoyed the slower moments. So that is my challenge, along with I really want to do not a no spend, and I don't even think I'm going to do a no spend week in May, but I just want to do an overall low spend and low buy month. So trying really hard not to eat out, only spending on things that are more essential. I'm also starting what I am calling my healing journey, and I've committed to going to acupuncture once a week, which costs about $90 a week. So I want to put my money there and take it away from like frivolous shopping, things I don't need, etc. But I do love things, man. So it's going to be a challenge. The last financial thing that I want to address is in April, I did get into a car accident, and somehow this is how I know I am making strides in my mental health, financial anxiety journey, is that the car accident has been a headache, and I felt really sad that my car, like when I learned that they weren't going to be able to repair my car and my car was totaled, I felt really sad and I felt really annoyed, but it was more about the logistics of finding a new car and the attachment that I had to my car itself than the finances. I don't know. I'm so proud of myself. Honestly, I'm so grateful that I have an emergency fund, which honestly is like such peace of mind. The whole time I was saving up for my emergency fund, it didn't feel that fun. It definitely wasn't as fun as paying off debt. It was just like, okay, I just got to build this emergency fund. But now that I have it, I can honestly say like I probably do sleep better at night. And with the whole car accident thing, insurance is covering a new car, or like I should say they're covering a replacement car. So they gave me a certain amount of money, but the thing is that used cars are so expensive right now that I'm pretty sure and I'm ready to kick in some of my own money. And I do think that there was a time when, even if maybe I had some savings, there would have been a time where I would have felt really angry about that, really worried about that, and really resentful. But now what I just feel is like grateful to my previous self who saved the money, which is literally for these unexpected things that happen. I wasn't expecting to get into a car accident and have my car be totaled. So I'm just really proud of myself. Hi, Maggie's coming onto her bed. All that to say, I'm just glad that this whole car accident hasn't been a source of financial anxiety, because it very much could have been. And I think that shows some progress. So my next like progress level up that I need to do is being able to accept slower months, kind of weather them. So I think that's a good thing to just be aware of and to work on for May. So let me know, how are you guys currently feeling about money? Are you feeling great? Are you feeling fantastic? Are you ready to take the summer off? I don't know. Are you ready to work hard all summer? I love hearing from you guys, because one of my favorite things about filming these videos is, yes, it's really fun to document my own progress and have these videos for me to kind of look back on and see how far I've come. But I also love hearing from you guys when you leave a comment saying like, you know, you do the budgeting along with me, or you started cash envelopes, you're working on paying off your debt, like maybe you've gotten over your fear of even looking at your bank accounts. Like, these comments bring me so much joy. So truly, 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 I would love to hear from you. Let me know what's up. Let me know how you're feeling. And that was that for step one. I always feel like we just got to get that off of our chests. And for you guys at home, I think maybe just doing a little bit of journaling, or just taking a walk and doing some self-reflection, making sure that you are thinking about the emotions and just thinking about what happened last month as it pertains to your budget. You might be able to see some interesting patterns, some things for you to work on, and also some things for you to be proud of yourself about. So with all of that being said, why don't we head over to my desk and we will really, really get into the nitty gritty, start talking money, shall we? Welcome to my desk. We have the budget tracker, we have Rich Baby Piggy, we have my cash envelopes, so we are ready to get into the nitty gritty of my budgeting routine, starting with step 2, which is to empty out my cash envelopes and take a look at what I spent in the previous month. For anyone who's new, let me introduce you to the thing that made me fall in love with budgeting and also saved my budget and has saved me thousands and thousands of dollars at this point, my cash envelopes. This is how I do the majority of my day-to-day spending, is following a cash envelopes budget, or it's also commonly referred to as the cash envelopes system. So every single category of my budget, I've broken it down into categories, has its own custom envelope, and then every month I fill it with cash and spend in cash. Like I said, I have saved thousands of dollars from following this method. It's kind of gamified budgeting. It's made it very, very tangible, where for the most part, budgeting is numbers on a screen, and it's, you know, our mobile banking app, or we have become so distanced from physical money in today's society. Of course, you know, tapping a credit card is much more convenient. Swiping your debit card, you know, there's credit card points and all of these things to lure us into spending more and spending more quickly and efficiently, that it's made money very, very intangible. And going to this system, making money tangible once again, has been a game changer for my anxiety, because it kind of taught me how to budget. And it's like, look, it almost feels play. Like when you're a little kid and you're like just playing with money, or playing with, you know, wooden fruit or whatever that, you know, kids play grocery store, to learn about food and about grocery shopping. Cash envelopes makes your budget fun, and again, it makes it very, very tangible. So I love this. This system is from The Line. You will never hear me say a bad thing about it, because I genuinely believe this has changed my life. If you want to hop on it, if you want to join me being a cash budgeting girly or person, I will have it linked down below. This is the leather folio, but there is a more affordable starting point if you want to jump in. I'm gonna open up my second camera so we can get all of the gorgeous angles. Let's move this. Those of you who've been watching for a while are like, we get it, Zoe. We know you love your cash budget. Like, we get it, enough already. But it's never enough. It's never enough, because if you're struggling with your budgeting, honestly, you guys, give it a try. It's chef's kiss, okay? Okay, I shut up now. So we're gonna open up these envelopes. We're gonna go category by category, and I wanna see how much is left in the envelope, and I wanna see if it lines up with my budget tracker. So along with doing cash envelopes, every single month I input all of my spending into this budget tracker. Anything I bought on cash, anything I bought with credit or debit, it all goes in here. So in order to make sure that everything was input correctly, I wanna take a look at the cash envelopes and make sure that they line up. So let's start with groceries. We're gonna empty the envelope. 2, 4, 6, 80, $90. This lines up with the budget tracker. The $4.22 is no doubt in small change, which I keep in my wallet. So this is good. We're gonna put it to the side. The next category is home. I have a $5 bill here and the budget tracker says $8.61. So that tracks. It's definitely just another small coins situation. Following home, we have treat yourself. You guys can see on the screen, right? All right, let's see what's left in this envelope. We have $50, $60, $70, $80, $90 left. I had given myself $170 in cash, and between cash and credit, I managed to spend $390 on treat yourself. This is very, very high. I will go into where it came from in a minute. There was one thing I bought with cash. It was like this cute Arc'teryx hat, and I was like, yay! Completely forgetting that in the background, I bought myself a few other things that did add up to quite a bit, almost $400 and $200 over budget. So this we are gonna put aside in a different pile, okay? So you guys, I'm making 2 different piles, and we'll talk about that in a second. The next category is Maggie, which is my little dog. I overspent by $100. I spent so much on Maggie this month, adding up to $250. We only have $10 left in the envelope. So that of course means that some spending was done on credit. Now I did try and reconcile a bit, but of course it didn't add up. So I'm putting it here into the overspent pile. Next category is coffee. We've got a $10 bill left in here, and the budget tracker says $11, so that's great. Then we have dining out. It says I should have $65 left. 20, 40, and 5. Okay, so $20 is missing. I had budgeted $250 for dining out and only spent $184, which is really great. Very proud of myself. After dining out, we have personal care. The budget tracker says that I'm over by $40, and there is indeed nothing left in the envelope. For gifts, $8.39 should remain, and we have $10, so that's perfect. This probably means that I ended up using some of the small change that was left in my wallet from a different category to help just kind of complete the purchase, so we'll put that there. And then the last 2 envelopes are my spent on credit and my savings envelope. So this is where these 2 piles are going to come into play. Now, I know I overspent by quite a bit. In total, I overspent by, let's see, for cash. For the categories that are supposed to be cash, I overspent by $360. So that is a lot of money. Let's count. Okay, we have 20, 40, 90, $100 here. 2, 4, 6, 8, oops, 100, 2, 130, 140, 150, 160. So this is where I need to make a decision. I can either put all of this money into my spent on credit to help me repay some of the stuff that I overspent. This envelope spent on credit, I will take to the ATM, put it straight away into my bank account to help me pay off my credit card. So that is option 1. Option 2 would be to split the 2 piles, to take the leftovers in the categories that I had overspent in and put it towards spent on credit, and to take the, let's call it honest leftovers, and put it into my savings. So this is where I take any cash left over, we'll call it the honest cash left over, and I just keep it in here as a fun little way to save up for something. Last year I saved up and bought a used Louis Vuitton bag. This year, I wasn't sure what I was saving up for, but I finally decided I want to get this kind of hair treatment done to my hair for the summertime. It's pretty expensive, but I feel like it's the perfect use of my cash cash savings. So now I have to make a decision. Am I going to split it and put some money into savings, or am I going to use it all for repayment? I'm leaning towards still putting some money into savings because it's just fun. I think it's nice to keep the savings momentums going. I do know that very fortunately in my bank account, I have enough to cover this overspend, and I really do want to correct it by doing a low spend month next month. So I'm going to go ahead and put this money into my savings. And this $100 will go towards spent on credit. So this month, in terms of my day-to-day purchases, I feel like my budgeting was very solid. I was great on the coffee. I did great on the dining out. Groceries, like I was a star. Groceries are so expensive, and that's actually been one of my hardest categories to kind of keep in check. So I'm really glad that I did well there. Now, I think I know why I did so well with dining out and with coffee, and that is because once a week, I have been having what I call my day out, because those of you who know my channel, I used to rent an office for, my self-employed needs. I rented an office, and I made the decision to get rid of it. And instead of going to my office every day or a few times a week, I would have 1 or maybe 2 days out, going to a coffee shop, taking myself out for lunch. So April was the first full month of me actually going out once a week. There were a couple weeks where I think there was maybe 2 weeks where I went out twice a week. I took myself out for lunch. I was kind of willy-nilly with going out. There were even days where I would buy 2 coffees out. I definitely overdid it. And those numbers are not reflected here because to me, they come from a different budget. They come from my business budget. Just like the office rent was coming from a business budget, these outings are coming from a business budget. But what I need to remember is okay, we had 1 month, we had fun. To me, it's important to not lock myself up in my house because the work that I do, copywriting, YouTube, it can be very isolating. I don't need to leave the house and talk to people, and it can get lonely, and it can even get a little bit depressing if I'm not taking care of myself and again, going out of the house. So I need to allow myself to spend a little bit, but it doesn't need to be so crazy. The other expense related to that is Maggie. So every time I go out for the full day, I need to put her in daycare because she cannot stay home alone all day. Plus I want her to go and run and play with other dogs and have a fun day. And that costs $46 every time I put her in daycare. So those daycare expenses are reflected in here. That is why her category was so high. But I think that going out once a week on kind of that business budget, it scratched the itch for dining out and for coffee that I normally have, which is why it was lower on the personal budget. So in May, I'm going to track how much, and I'm also going to limit how much I'm allowed to spend because we got to be reasonable. And we'll talk about that in the May budget section. Now, in terms of treat yourself, let's talk about how I managed to spend $400. So at the beginning of the month, I did a big splurge and I did a big order on Knix, which is a Canadian period panties company. I love this company so much, and they had a deal where it was if you buy 7, you get 25% off. And I've had their products in the past. They're incredible. They last, and they're expensive. But I was F it, I'm gonna splurge, and I don't regret it, but I'm covered. I am good. I don't need to buy any period products now for a while. I have a good stash. I got rid of some of my old ones, so it felt really nice to do that little refresh. But that in itself cost $200. The next thing I bought is, I'm a little bit embarrassed to admit it because a couple weeks ago, I made a video saying a couple of things that I'm not going to be buying in 2024. And one of those things was jackets. And I ended up buying some jackets. The weather changed and I didn't have a good spring jacket that I was in love with. And I'm very fortunate. I have a plug at the company Lole. You guys might know that brand. One of my... I don't want to put her on blast. So someone I know works there and gets a gorgeous discount. So I was able to get 2 spring jackets. I got this gorgeous green kind of quilted one and a really nice long rain jacket. Both of those jackets for $116 when the individual price of each of those jackets is more than $116. So I got a mega discount. And in exchange, I brought 2 of my jackets that I wasn't super in love with anymore. I brought both of those to donation. So I figured it was a fair trade-off, but yes, that did contribute to me overspending in the treat yourself category. So I really should be like all good. The last thing in that category, like I said, was the Arc'teryx hat. So for May, my goal is going to be like, I don't want to say no treat yourself moment or no clothing moment. Almost no clothing. I'm thinking like I need to really cool it. The last area where I did spend a bit of money last month, which is not a cash category, is healthcare. So like I mentioned, I'm on my little acupuncture journey, going once a week, and it's just something that I am committing to. It makes me feel so good. My Whoop, my fitness tracker, actually last time registered it as a nap when I went to acupuncture. I'm actually going today and I need to leave very soon, so I better wrap up this video, but it's just something that I wanna make room for in my budget. I think it's really important for my health and for my mental well-being. So that is everything that I spent in the month of April. If I had to rate the month, which is not something I've ever done, I think I would give it a 5 or 6 on 10. 5 or 6. So I wanna keep the good work up in dining out, coffee, and groceries, and we're gonna cool it down and treat yourself. You guys, you need to see what Maggie's doing right now. Oh shit, she moved. Can you please resume that position? Please. Okay, she moved, but she was lying on her bed, on her back, with her tongue out. It was the cutest thing. Step 3 is to create my budget for the month of May. This is everything you see in the monthly tab. We have the expense summary here, which is pretty much your budget. This is where you're gonna input everything that you wanna budget for the month, and then it automatically populates with what you spend when you input it here into the expense log tab. You guys may see here, I added 3 new categories. This is where I wanna track things just a little bit differently. You have your income summary, your bills, so things like rent, hydro, electricity, internet, all of that. All of mine is looped into my rent category. I just have my car insurance, which shouldn't come out this month because I don't currently have a car, Spotify, and then I've actually stopped paying for Audible, so we can delete that. If we scroll down, we have our savings, our monthly goals, debt repayment. This can be deleted. This is just the automatic sort of sample. And then our investments. So for me, it's just RRSP and TFSA right now. We will delete crypto. I'm not gonna add any money there. And we haven't done that yet. Let's go ahead and right away start filling in the goals. So my first goal is going to be to contribute $1,000 to my RRSP. And I would like to contribute $500 to a sinking fund. I decided not to set any other, big audacious financial goals this month. These are the ones that I set at the beginning of the year to just kind of help me go towards my overall financial goals. But given the anxiety that I've been feeling, given my predicted lower earning month, I don't want to set a goal that I don't think I'm going to be able to achieve and then be stressed or mad at myself throughout the month that I'm not going to achieve that goal. I'm just going to take it easy on myself right now. If we go up here, we have my kind of anticipated income summary. I honestly have no idea really what this is going to look like. The only things that I'm really able to gauge are my, not even affiliate income, are my bar teacher income and my copywriting income. For copywriting, I like to set a goal for myself of how many hours do I want to do or how much income do I want to make. It just helps me kind of anchor down because I could do a whole bunch, I could do not a lot. Of course, it also depends on how much work they give me, but I find it helps me to set a goal for the month. So if the month ends up looking like this, I will be ecstatic. I will be ecstatic. I'm not sure how it's gonna look, but you know what? I'm let's have positive vibes. Let's manifest a good month. So we shall see. I already paid my rent and we talked about this. So now where I want us to really take a look is here at the expense summary and build the budget. If we go back into April, I'm actually gonna copy everything from the cash category because I'm really happy with that budget. If we do that, the sum is $1,200. So I was anticipating this. This is how much money I took out from the ATM. We went and did that together in my monthly reset. But now that I've been thinking about my finances a little more, I kind of want to challenge myself to stick to a $1,000 budget. I was watching Carter's video and she, I feel is so good with her money. She's really good at like not overspending, and it inspired me to cut down my spending a little bit. So I want to see if we can chop out $200 somewhere. So groceries $450, home $50, treat yourself $170, Maggie $150. So we're gonna adjust the Maggie budget for sure, because I wanna start separating her budget from the dog sitter day out, because this here day out and dog sitter, this is covered by the business. So the sum of that is $284, which of course is less than my $850 a month office rent. So that's great. So removing the weekly dog sitter from here, how much do I think I will spend on Maggie? I anticipate spending, she needs a new bag of food, like I need to go tonight or tomorrow. That's around $100. We're gonna have to leave it at $150. Having a pet, you guys, is so expensive, especially one like mine that has separation anxiety and needs to go to the dog sitter all the time. Coffee, $30. I feel like that's very reasonable. Dining out, $250. I think I can bring this down. Let's try bringing this down to $200. Personal care, $60. That's just like the standard for what it costs me to do my nails. Then again, if I do gel instead of SNS, I can actually cut this down. Let's leave it alone for now. I'm like, I don't want to get rid of, I want to lower my budget, but I don't want to spend less money. Okay, we're going to take some money away from treat yourself. We're going to lower this to, what if we did $120? What if we tried that? What sum does this give us now? $1,100. So we need to cut out another $100 somewhere. I'm really stuck, you guys. I am really stuck. The reason I feel stuck is because I don't want to set too low of a budget and then just set myself up for failure. Let's see if maybe I can be smarter with groceries. Let's bring the groceries back down to $400 and we'll see how that goes. So now we're at $1,050. The problem is that I kind of want to increase my gifts budget because I anticipate spending a little higher there. I would honestly increase it, if I'm being realistic, to like $70. So that brings us to a budget of $1,080. I'm comfortable with that. I think that's a pretty good compromise. The treat yourself, like maybe we don't have to spend it all. In the home, maybe we won't spend it, but I really don't want to put it too low and then have the red next month. So $1,080 is going to be the cash budget. Now let's look at the non-cash category. So books, we should be all good. Gas, it's all gonna depend if I get a car. So I'm gonna budget $150 just in case I end up finding a car and it needs gas. Healthcare, where's my phone? So healthcare is $90 a week for acupuncture times 4. That's $360. That is so much money. Ugh. Oh God. Parking, let's just like, I don't know, like 20 bucks. Workouts, it's gonna be $0. Car stuff should be, well, this is really hard. This is a tough one. Okay, this budget is really challenging me this month. Vacation, I am going on a trip. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so stumped. Okay. Christmas, $0. Clothing, $0. So clothing is a new category. I wanted to separate it from treat yourself because I wanted to be able to keep a better eye on my spending. Now, most of the time, I wanna say like 80% of the things that I treat myself to is clothing. So I wanted to separate it to really, really track like, where is this coming from? So I'm not gonna do a cash budget for clothing to start. I wanna see if I separate them, what treat yourself do I actually spend in cash, and then how much do I spend on clothing? Most of my clothing shopping is done online, so it just doesn't make sense to budget in cash. But next month, I'll be able to analyze and see, do I wanna make clothing a cash category? If I don't make it a cash category, can I significantly lower the treat yourself? Like, that's what I wanna see. For day out, I budgeted $100. So that's $25 a week. That could be for lunch, that could be for coffee, but no more than $25 a week or $100 in the month. I think that is reasonable. So we will track it here and see how we do next month. And then I also budgeted for 1 trip to the dog sitter per week. So, okay, vacation, I'm going to budget. So I'm going to my friend Haley's wedding in Kansas City, Missouri. And I'm really excited. I didn't really think about spending on that this month, to be honest with you guys. We're only going for a couple of days, but of course there's gonna be spending there. So I think it would make sense if I budget, let's do $150 Canadian, and we'll see how that goes. So in total, my budget for the month is $2,000.44. If you compare that to my forecasted income, which this is like a hopeful forecast, I do find it's pretty high. The biggest perpetrator is, of course, the healthcare. So now that I'm looking at this, I'm thinking maybe I should lower the treat yourself and just like be really strict with myself. So let's say $60. That brings my total cash budget to $1,020, and it brings the total budget overall to under $2,000, which is, I feel like it's really high. I feel like it's really high. Don't let me know in the comments, okay? I don't want to feel bad about myself. That's why I say I'm not a professional, and I'm not even necessarily someone to model your numbers after. I'm just showing you my real numbers. Books, we're gonna say 0. Whatever, let's do it. We'll check in throughout the month, and we'll check in next month and see how it goes. So I just wanted to show you guys here on the expense categories tab. This is where I added the new expense categories so that they can show up in the drop down. And then they auto-populate here in the expense summary. It's genius. If you guys want to get this spreadsheet, I will have it linked down below along with my discount code. Okay, you guys, we have made it. We have 2 steps left, and I really need to go. I am like gonna be so late for my appointment. So step number 4 is, of course, my favorite step, which is to stuff these cash envelopes. So I am going to reference the cash budget that we just built and stuff the envelopes. Let's get into it. First up is groceries. We said $400. 2, 4, 6, 8, 100. 2, 4, 6, 8, 300. What am I doing? That's $200. 300, $400. We said $50 for home. For $60 for treat yourself. My bills aren't actually gonna work with the budget here. We're gonna change home to be a $40 budget. $2, 4, 6, 8, 100, and $50 for the dog. $20 and $30 for coffee. $2, 4, 6, 8, 100, $2, 4, 6, 8, $200 for dining out. $2, 4, $60 for personal care. And we are going to do $2, 4, 60, $80 because I don't have any more 5s or 10s for gifts. So this means we have some money left over that I can just put back into my bank account, which is great. So I will be going to the ATM today to deposit this spent on credit and to put back this extra cash. The last step is to clip everything in to the folio. It's always my favorite step because it's just so satisfying. We have made it to step 5, which is the last step of my budgeting routine. It is to take a look at what's left in my bank accounts, pay off my credit cards, and put some money towards my savings. This month, my American Express was at $832, which definitely includes some business expenses, some things we maybe didn't even cover when looking at this spreadsheet here. And my MasterCard was really high. It was at $1,602, but $1,000 of that was for some dental work that I completely forgot to talk about, but yes. So I know a lot of people like to put money into savings first, pay themselves first before paying off their credit cards. I, however, always pay my credit cards off first because I just like to have it out of the way. I never want to have credit card debt. I never want to carry credit card debt. So that is always my step number 1. From there, I like to keep a certain amount of money left in my bank accounts just for like in case anything automatically comes out. From my business bank account, I'm currently a sole proprietor, so they're actually all intertwined just in kind of one. They're all with the same bank. When I look at my online banking, I see them in different accounts, but they're all just under my name. But I like to leave a buffer of just over $2,000 in the business account, just in case any expenses come up, if I need a new computer, if I need a new camera, or smaller expenses like a new charger, things just always pop up. So I like to have a buffer there. What I've been doing is anything left in the business account, I straight away put towards my savings because I don't want to feel inclined to spend it. So I keep certain minimums in my accounts. I like to also try and be 1 month ahead. That, however, the 1 month ahead, I will build up throughout the month. I don't do it right away at the beginning of the month because I just emptied it to pay my rent and to fill my cash envelopes. Sorry guys, I know I'm rushing through this. It's because I really got to go. But you've heard me talk about these accounts so many times. I really wanted to focus more on the spending in this video. But my goal for April was to do actually $2,000 to my RRSP and to do $500 to my sinking funds. After paying off my credit cards, I am happy to say that I will be able to achieve those savings goals. I want to take care of them now and put extra money into them now, because if lower earning months do come, which it's very possible that they do, I want to have taken care of myself kind of in advance if I'm maybe not able to meet or exceed my goals in the coming months. So $2,500 is the base savings. If there's anything left over, I will be moving it over into my sinking funds. And that is a wrap on April's budget. Now we just get to move into May, and I hope that it will be a positive month filled with not too much anxiety, not too much worrying, and not too much spending for me. Let me know what you guys thought of this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, talking about money with me. It is such a joy to make these videos every single month. I love you. I will stop talking now, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.